Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Muhammad Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, many blessings and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the house of David, that by after I would die, for whom these epistles are written for in these last days. Shalom to the elect. It's going to be a quick lesson, of course, going back into prophecy, with everything that's going on in the world. All these smaller nations are starting to buck up, and they're telling Babylon that they're not scared anymore, and they're tooling up. And the scriptures back this up, or actually, the talk of these things are backing up the scriptures, because the scriptures came first. Okay, so this is from RT News. It says, "No talks, just readiness. Iran responds to Trump's threats." Since Tehran has said it is preparing to defend itself from an armada of U.S. warships. So it says Iran has dismissed U.S. President Donald Trump demands that it make a deal declaring that it is 200% ready to defend itself if Trump launches military strikes. The U.S. president has threatened Tehran with a far worse attack than that of the nuclear facilities last summer. And so we're getting into that territory of Matthew 24. We're going to read that, but we're going to start right here, Joel 3, because the Lord he's basically getting these other smaller nations to start to get courage, okay? And they're starting to look at America as weakened, not the same America that they used to be, the same Babylon that used to intimidate these smaller countries. They're not having that same intimidation factor in today's world. This is Joel 3 and 9. It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles." All right? And we can go into Gentiles. These are not the same Gentiles as the converts, or not the same Gentiles as, because there's two different meanings for Gentiles. You got the natural Gentiles, which this is talking about the natural Gentiles. They're not of the Hebrew Israelite tree at all. Okay, so anyway, and then you have the Gentiles that were Israelites but converted into being Babylonians, Grecians. That's why we have books named Grecians, Romans. That's what the Gentiles who actually go back to the Israelites call themselves. Like today, you have the Israelites. All right, they call themselves Black, Latino, and Native American. Okay, or American. All right, so if the Bible was still being written, there will be a book called the Babylonians or the Americans. All right, but anyway, I digress. This is Joel 3 and 9. "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up." And that's what the Iranians are saying to the Americans, the Babylonians in this case. All right. The Iranians, which are the Persians, are telling Babylon that we're not the same Persians that you remember. We have arms too. Okay. And they're showing it off and letting it be known that, hey, if you want smoke, we got it too. Okay. It says, "Beat your plowshares into swords," okay, "and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." And that's what they're doing. Okay. They're demonstrating, all right, all across the world that we ain't to be effed with. Okay. You ain't going to keep bullying us around. Okay. This ain't high school lunch, You just take my lunch money and I ain't got nothing to eat for the rest of the day. Nope. It's not going down like that no more. Okay. Okay. And the Lord is putting the spirit on these other nations to show allegiance to Russia, okay, and China. All right. It says in a post on True Social on Wednesday, Trump warned that a massive armada is closing in on Iran, and that it is ready to fulfill its mission with speed and violence. He urged Tehran to make a deal on the future of its nuclear program, or the next attack will be far worse. So he's throwing around big shots. But guess what? Guess what spirit the Lord got them in? They on that same rah-rah. This is Joel 3:9 or 3:10 again. It says, "Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, because thy mighty ones come down, O Lord Yahweh." All right, so they're gathering themselves right now under Russia. That's according to Ezekiel 38, right? They're gathering themselves, and they understand that the threat of war is near. Okay, and they need to be in position to defend themselves and defend those around them. This is Matthew 24:6, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay? Those of us that are in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Al Shai should not look at this and wither in fear. No, no, no. We should be the exact opposite. We should be pouring gasoline on this. Okay? Fanning the flames. Okay? Because this is the end of our captivity. Once Babylon has worked up the courage to finally enter into World War III, which we're already in World War III, but once they finally worked up the courage to get NATO to go in and join them, and things go down the way we've been saying it's going to go down, that'll be the end of our captivity. That'll be the end of captivity of the rest of the world under the Edomite supremacy. Okay? And we will be free to enslave them along with the rest of the other nations and Gentiles. Okay? And the natural Gentiles, by the way. We're going to enslave all the natural Gentiles led by Esau, Edom. And we're going to pull this world back from the brink of destruction that Esau has brought it to. We're going to make him clean all the fucking mess he made. But we need him to go ahead and shoot those nukes. All right? And it's going to happen. Okay? World War III is going to happen. Okay? This is Revelation 9:12. It says, one woe is past. All right, that's World War I. And behold, there come two woes more hereafter. That's World War II and World War III. World War II has already passed. World War III is at the doorstep. Okay? Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So when you hear all these things, when you hear Iran bucking up, telling America, hey, kiss my ass, let's go to war, these are all building up to the baby being delivered, metaphorically. Okay? Back in the article, should Trump strike Iran or strike first, Iran will give an appropriate response, not a proportionate one. Deputy Foreign Minister Kazim Garba Baba, I can't say his name, told reporters. He stated that this response could target U.S. bases in the region, warning that Israel too could suffer losses. Beautiful language. Iran is not in talks with the U.S., and its main priority is to be 200% ready to defend itself, he added. Iran's permanent mission to the United Nations was more explicit in its response. Last time the U.S. blundered into wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, It squandered over 7 trillion and lost more than 7,000 American lives, it wrote on post in a post on X. Iran stands ready to dialogue based on mutual respect and interest, but if pushed, it will defend itself and respond like never before. The post continued, aging or apping Trump's destructive social media language. The aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln arrived in the Middle East this week, accompanied by 3 destroyers armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles, in addition to the F-35C and the F/A-18 fighter jets carried by the Abraham Lincoln. The U.S. also moved F-15E Strike Eagle fighter jets, Patriot missile batteries, and THAAD air defense systems to the region in recent days. So this is all building up to that crescendo, to that last singing note, World War III. And the other nations are tired of your shit. They're tired of your shit. You've been messing around on them, or messing around with them for years, centuries, decades. All right. Now it's time for you to get spoiled. This is Isaiah 33:1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled. It says, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. Woo. Powerful words right there. Now, we're on the precipice of World War III, which we're already in it, but now you're going to see it starting to get heating up. And you see all these other nations being positioned, all right, behind Russia, and them speaking boldly against Babylon the Great. And Babylon is already being shown for the enormous hypocritical stances they take throughout the entire world. Everyone's seeing it, and now they're calling them on it. Okay, this is Ezekiel 35:1. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, which in this case represents Babylon the Great, which you also know today as America. It says, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, man, Mount Seir represents the top government. The top government on the earth right now is who? America, of course, right? It says, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashemashah thy power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. That's a promise that he made unto Babylon the Great. Okay? He said, I'm going to make you most desolate. All right? That's the only nation that he has made that promise to. Okay? You don't believe us? Malachi 1:3, it says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains, which is his governments, and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. All right, so he laid the Grecians and the Romans down. Okay, the first leg of the Romans. All right, verse 4 says, and whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished. All right, so the Western Roman Empire fell for a time. It says, but we will return and build the desolate places. So those desolate places he built, which he's dwelling right now in, is the second leg of the Roman Empire. Okay? This is the second leg of the Roman Empire. It says, they shall build, but I will throw down. Now, he said they shall build, and they did. It started with the Renaissance, the period of the Renaissance, which means rebirth. Okay, so they rebirthed the Roman Empire, this time under the rule of America, which completed the prophecy of Isaac blessing Esau with the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven. This is the completion of that prophecy in live time that you're breathing and looking around and seeing. You're living in the completion of that prophecy right now from Genesis. Okay? So he's completed this prophecy. Now here comes the second part of that prophecy. It says, they shall build, but I will throw down. Now he's hit Isaac, which was Yahushua, if you can receive it, gave him that blessing, but Yahushua is going to return to take that blessing away. Okay? All right, under Yahweh. It says, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord Yahweh have indignation forever. So you're seeing the fall of a kingdom in real time. And you're seeing the events that will lead up to it. Yahweh's going to send his son, Yahushua, back to do away with this kingdom. He let them build it up. He was with that for a time. Now you're seeing the degradation, I said it right, of this kingdom. You're seeing the wounds from the inside. You're seeing the HPV of this whore on display, okay? You're seeing this whore being shown for the nasty, vile, disgusting, trash bag, bottomless pit of a whoredom this place is known for worldwide. And now you're seeing kingdoms like Iran and Russia and China gearing up to send this whore into a fiery end. Okay? And that's going to be the end of Babylon. All right? Let's go back to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 35:4 says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, which, listen, the Lord gives you context clues. What was one of Esau's blessings? That he will rule the entire world by what? The sword. So he's talking to Esau. Okay? That's how you know he's talking to Esau. Okay? He calls them by the clefts of the rocks, which means Caucasian. Though you fly like the eagle, is that not a representation of Esau? Okay? It says, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh Shemashah power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. If thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Meaning he's going to cut your seed line. He's going to evaporate Edomites altogether. Okay? It's just the truth of the matter. Because the way you populate a nation is through the seed line. Don't listen to these women telling you that they're goddesses and birth and all that bullshit. Don't listen to these women. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. Okay? Matter of fact, let's get it. Let's prove what we're saying. Maybe I got the wrong one. Yep. Numbers 1 and 18. Because if the Lord or something happens to your seed line and you're not able to reproduce, guess what? You're going to go extinct. Okay? This is Numbers 1 and 18. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees, okay, that's their seed line, after their families by the house of their fathers. That's how you cut off a man and his heritage. You cut the seed line off. We could take the women, okay, and the women can't make a new seed line. There'll just be Edomite women out here just getting implanted by other nations. So what comes out of them is going to be a different nation. It ain't going to be Edomites. They may look like an Edomite, but they ain't going to be Edomites. Okay? So we understand each other, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about the Bible and or the world today. Like a so-called black woman would say, well, I'm having children with this white man, but this a black child. No, that's an Edomite. If a black woman lays down with a white man, she just created a damn Edomite. But if a so-called black, Latino, or Native American man lays down with a white woman, that's still an Israelite. You understand? Let's read that again. Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Okay? Their fathers, man. That's how you are determined as a nation. Not this shit with Tariq be talking about some, oh, that's a foundation. No. That's confusion. We declare you by the house of your father. Who is your dad? Who is his dad? Who is his dad's dad? That's how we found out what nation you belong to. It ain't got nothing to do with the woman. Okay? Although she's an Israelite too. But ain't got nothing to do with the woman. The makeup you come up with or you come from depends upon your father. So when we look at a Lenny Kravitz, right? You look at a Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz is not an Israelite as far as we can tell. He came from the stock of an Edomite. Not only an Edomite, he came from an Amalekite, a so-called you know what, a tiny top, okay? If you get my drift. So Lenny Kravitz is not of the stock of Israel, although he looks like an Israelite, but he is not the stock. So, does that mean in every case that way? No. There's some Israelites that look like so-called white people. We agree. So he could be an Israelite. We don't know. But as it stands, that's the possibility of him not being an Israelite is strong. Same goes with T and Tamara. You wonder, you look at them and ask the question. I know some so-called black people ask this question: why is she so fucking weird? Or you may look at a Doja Cat. She could be an Israelite. I don't know. But you look at it and you're like, damn, why this bitch so damn weird? Because there's a strong possibility that she might not be of your stock. That's why. That's why you ask the uncomfortable question. Okay, so listen, understand the Lord is doing this thing beautifully, man. He's writing this up perfectly, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to end the video here. I wanted to bring out that these other nations are starting to blow up. They're starting to get their nuts back, and they're telling America the time for this bullying is going to end. Okay, and it's going to end in a fiery destruction. This is Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. That's the end of Babylon the Great. So I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Ashai, Ba'ashem, Muharakah, Kadash, Shalom to the elect.